Hello and welcome to In Depth. Our program is dedicated to explaining issues and answering questions extensively to get a 360-degree view on the burning topic of the day. I'm Aditi Nagpal Girotra with you. Days after moon lander Vikram made a hard landing on the moon and snapped its connection with the Chandrayaan-2 orbiter, ISRO is pulling out all stops in trying to establish contact with the lander. NASA too has pitched in with its Jet Propulsion Laboratory, beaming a radio frequency to Vikram lander in order to establish contact. The American Space Agency is sending hello messages to Vikram. These attempts are expected to be made till 20th to 21st of September, when sunlight will be there in the area where the Vikram has landed. ISRO is trying to establish the link with Vikram through its own Indian Deep Space Network at Bailalu near Bengaluru. But what exactly is a Deep Space Network and what role does it play in space exploration? We will consider these questions and more in our edition on In Depth today. NASA has joined ISRO in attempting to get a response from Chandrayaan-2 lander Vikram that's lying motionless on the moon. The connection between the orbiter and Vikram lander snapped on the early hours of September 7th, when ISRO had planned its soft landing on the lunar surface.
For over 4 days now, ISRO has been trying to establish communication with the moon lander Vikram that's lying motionless on the lunar surface. Even as all methods to establish communication have proven unsuccessful, ISRO feels there is one way to connect with lander, through X-band. X-band is a band of frequencies in the microwave radio region of the electromagnetic spectrum. It is used for radar, satellite communication, and wireless computer networks. In space communications, X-band is allocated for deep space telecommunications. Following this development, NASA has sent hello messages to the Indian lander on Moon. Through its Deep Space Network ground stations, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory beamed a radio frequency to Vikram in order to establish contact with the lander.
Can you see your CH-2L? This is actually Chandrayaan-2 lander. So right now this Chandrayaan-2 lander is connected to antenna number 24 in Goldstone. Okay, Goldstone at this point of time. Okay, so if I click here, you will get Chandrayaan-2 lander. It's a Chandrayaan-2 lander. You don't have this data, like for example range, how far it is away, because it is not sending back any information. You don't have any data about the signal going there and coming back, because again the signal is not coming back. But you don't know also its position. So what they are doing is that they are blindly sending a signal to that place.
ISRO had also taken the help of NASA's DSN to track Chandrayaan-2's integrated module, while it was on its way to Moon from Earth's elliptical orbit. The orbiter is designed to communicate with ISRO's and NASA's DSN antenna directly and has been relaying data to both networks consistently since the launch on 22nd of July. The lander Vikram was also designed to communicate directly with Earth and is capable of communicating with the orbiter, which in turn can relay its messages to Earth. The lander can also relay images taken by the rover to ISRO's and NASA's DSN. However, during the final minutes of the Vikram's descent, communications froze about 400 meters above the lunar surface. Communication with NASA's Deep Space Network in Madrid also stopped.
NASA cannot on its own try to communicate with Vikram. That is not possible. So right now what NASA is doing is, as per the contractual agreement between ISRO and NASA's Deep Space Network, okay, they have three antennas, three places where they have the Deep Space Network. The NASA is sending the signal which is recommended by ISRO. The ISRO prepares that signal and sends it. In fact, actually, when that 15 minutes of terror was taking place, when the Vikram lander was making an attempt to land on the moon. That time, India's antenna was not focused towards moon. It was not facing moon. It was one of these deep space network antenna which was actually receiving the signal and sending it to our ground station, and from ground station signals were going there and then going to the craft. So it's a very normal thing.
The hope of reviving lander Vikram is however getting slimmer by the day, as 14 Earth days will get over on September 20th to 21st, after which the lander will no longer remain exposed to the sun's rays, and hence there would be no hope to energize its solar panel. On September 2nd, Vikram successfully separated from Chandrayaan-2 orbiter, following which 2 de-orbiting maneuvers were performed to bring it closer to the moon. On September 7th, it successfully completed the rough braking phase, but lost communication with the ground stations during the fine braking phase. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Deep Space Network has a key role in maintaining the link between the spacecraft and the Earth. Specially assigned radio frequencies are used by the Deep Space Network for communication in space that are about 100 times higher than the ones used to listen to FM radio stations. NASA has the largest deep space network, which supports interplanetary spacecraft missions and radio and radar astronomy observations for the exploration of the solar system and the universe. The network also supports selected Earth orbiting missions. In our next report, let's understand what a deep space network is and what are its functions.
In simple terms, Deep Space Network, or DSN, is communications hub for deep space exploration. It is an array of giant radio antennas that support interplanetary spacecraft missions, plus a few that orbit Earth. It also provides radar and radio astronomy observations that improve our understanding of the solar system and the larger universe. DSN is a powerful system to command, track, and monitor the health and safety of spacecraft at many distant planetary locales. It also enables powerful science investigations that probe the nature of asteroids and the interiors of planets and moons. The antenna of a deep space network are an indispensable link to explorers venturing beyond Earth. They provide a crucial connection for commanding our spacecraft and receive their never-before-seen images and scientific information on Earth, propelling our understanding of the universe. The Deep Space Network acquires, processes, decodes, and distributes the telemetry data that is made up of crucial science and engineering information transmitted to Earth via radio signals from spacecraft. Space missions use the DSN command system to control the activities of their spacecraft. Commands are sent to robotic probes as coded computer files that the craft execute as a series of actions. DSN's tracking system provides two-way communication between Earth-based equipment and a spacecraft, making measurements that allow flight controllers to determine the position and velocity of spacecraft with great precision. DSN antennae are used by some space missions to perform science experiments using the radio signals sent between a spacecraft and Earth. In addition to its vital role as the communications hub for deep space exploration, the DSN is also used as an advanced instrument for scientific research, including radio astronomy and radar mapping of passing asteroids. NASA's Deep Space Network is the largest and the most sensitive scientific telecommunication system in the world, which provides round-the-clock coverage of the solar system. Operated by NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, DSN consists of 3 facilities spaced equidistant from each other, approximately 120 degrees apart in longitude around the world. These sites are at Goldstone near Barstow in California, near Madrid in Spain, and near Canberra in Australia. Its operations run non-stop, above 95% proficiency every month. Usually, the DSN operates above 99%. The strategic placement of these sites permits constant communication with spacecraft as our planet rotates, which means before a distant spacecraft sinks below the horizon, at one DSN site, another site can pick up the signal and carry on communicating.
Here is, for example, NASA's deep space network around the world. So NASA has three antennas around the world. One is in Madrid. Madrid is in Portugal in Europe. The second is in Goldstone, which is in USA. And the third is in Canberra, which is in Australia. So which means that when the Earth is rotating, any part of the sky, these antennas can look at.
In 1963, the network's first year of operation, NASA's DSN communicated with 3 spacecraft. It is currently communicating with 33 spacecraft across the solar system, including the Voyager satellites as they speed out of the solar system. On Tuesday, NASA's Deep Space Network at California tracked the Chandrayaan-2 lander and sent signals to it. Similar deep space networks are also run by India, China, Russia, Europe and Japan. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
With this, we'll halt in for a short break on In Depth, but we'll be back soon. Stay tuned with us.
Rabindranath Tagore was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913 for his book Gitanjali. In 1950, he composed the music and lyrics for India's national anthem Jana Gana Mana. And when Bangladesh became independent in 1971, they chose Tagore's song Amar Shonar Bangla as its national anthem. Tagore's life and works have made him a cultural icon, studied the world over, even into the 21st century.
Welcome back. You're still with us on In Depth, and I'm your host Aditi Nagpal Girotra. Over the last 50 years, the Deep Space Network has provided superior communication and tracking services to missions that have captured images from all the planets in our solar system. In this report, let's take a look at the history of the DSN network that has played a crucial role in several history-making events.
The Deep Space Network was conceived by NASA as a worldwide radio telescope array that could communicate with spacecraft throughout the solar system. The forerunner of the Deep Space Network was established in January 1958. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or JPL, that was then under contract to the US Army, deployed portable radio tracking stations in Nigeria, Singapore and California. In the same month, when the US Army successfully launched its first satellite, Explorer 1, these stations received telemetry and helped mission controllers plot the spacecraft's orbit. In October 1958, NASA was officially established to consolidate the separately developing space exploration programs of the Army, Navy and Air Force into one civilian organization. On 3rd December 1958, JPL was transferred from the Army to NASA and given responsibility for the design and execution of lunar and planetary exploration programs using robotic spacecraft. Shortly afterward, NASA established the Deep Space Network as a separately operated communications facility that would accommodate all deep space missions. The DSN was given responsibility for its own research, development and operations in support of its users. 1963 was the DSN's first year of operation, during which it communicated with 3 spacecraft. As of 2013, the DSN communicated with 33 spacecraft across the solar system.
When you want to communicate to very deep space, light, electromagnetic waves, radio waves, they're all same. Light and radio waves are nothing but part of electromagnetic waves, right? So if you want to communicate with, let's say, moon or with some spacecraft around Mars or even further away, Pluto or any of those things, you need bigger and bigger antenna. When you go to further away, the signal that you will be receiving or signal that you are sending which will go and reach there will reduce. Its strength will reduce. Okay, so you need bigger and bigger antenna. So an antenna which is really very large, so that you will be able to make a communication with spacecraft in very far away places, is generally called as deep space network. It's a network because it will generally be never only one antenna. You will have a few more antennas, all of them you will connect.
Today, the DSN has 3 facilities spread roughly 120 degrees around the globe. At any given time, a spacecraft trying to send home a message should be within line of sight of one of the 3 stations. Each station contains multiple parabolic dishes, including one dish each, that is 230 feet across. Goldstone is one of the 3 stations of the Deep Space Network that was established to provide the ability to communicate with spacecraft, not only in orbit around the Earth, but also in the farther reaches of our solar system. The Canberra Deep Space Communication Complex in Australia opened in 1965. It was originally known as the Tidbinbilla Tracking Station. The Madrid Deep Space Communication Complex in Spain also opened in 1965.
Is located in Bailalu in near Bangalore. Okay, there are actually 3 antennas. One is 11 meter in diameter, other is 18 meter in diameter, the other one is 32 meter in diameter. So this 32 meter diameter is the one that is useful for you to communicate to very long distance when you want to send powerful messages. But suppose if the spacecraft is sending you messages, okay, then you may be able to use let's say 11 meter or 8 meter to receive it. Of course, you may also use it for communication, but because in Earth we can do amplification, etc. So we may be able to use a 11 or 18 meter to also receive it, while the 32 will be necessary for sending information to the craft. So it's 3 antennas are there in the Bailalu complex, which is used for deep space communication.
In 1965, the DSN received images from NASA's Mariner 4 spacecraft, the first close-ups of Mars. During the Apollo mission, the Deep Space Network received and relayed to the world the first TV images of astronaut Neil Armstrong setting foot on the surface of the moon in 1969. In 1974, DSN returned Mariner 10 images of Mercury. When NASA's twin Voyager spacecraft buzzed by Jupiter, Saturn and Neptune, DSN brought home the first close-ups of these planets and their rings and moons. DSN also carried the data conveying the famous self-portrait of Earth known as Pale Blue Dot. It played a crucial role in the rescue of astronauts during the Apollo 13 mission. It continues to monitor the Voyager spacecraft's entry into interstellar space. It is also capable of receiving very low-strength signals from distant spacecraft. In addition to its vital role in two-way spacecraft communication, DSN dishes make direct science observations as well. The DSN not just tracks, sends commands to and receives data from all NASA spacecraft beyond the moon, it also supports spacecraft from the European Space Agency, the Japanese Space Agency and also the Indian Space Agency. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Indian Deep Space Network facility was set up on 17th October 2008 to support the interplanetary spacecraft missions of India. It was first used to track our first lunar mission, Chandrayaan-1. Currently used in Chandrayaan-2 mission, it will also be used for future planetary exploration missions and human missions. Here is a detailed report.
More than a decade ago, India's Chandrayaan-1 spacecraft successfully conducted the country's first lunar mission. On July 22nd, India launched Chandrayaan-2 in a bid to be the first to explore the moon's south polar region with a rover. Unlike most other moon missions, Chandrayaan-2 travelled nearly 30 days before injecting itself into the moon's orbit. However, ISRO, the Indian Space Agency, lost communication with Vikram lander just some distance away from the lunar space. But nevertheless, ISRO is trying its level best to establish communication with the Vikram lander. In fact, a variety of government entities located in Bengaluru are monitoring the mission from the ground. For example, antennas at the Indian Deep Space Network or IDSN were set up to receive Chandrayaan-2's health data and information from its payloads. ISRO is now trying to communicate with the Vikram lander through IDSN. IDSN is a network of large antennas and communication facilities to support the interplanetary spacecraft missions of India. It consists of 3 antennas, 11-meter antenna, 18-meter antenna and 32-meter antenna. Its hub is located at Bayalalu, a village near Bengaluru, Karnataka in India.
The Deep Space Network main objective is 2 things. One, you need to know the spacecraft health. Okay, like health means how fast it is moving, in what direction it is moving. Let's say telemetry data. Second, information about the spacecraft, whether the solar panels are functioning well, whether the battery is functioning well, whether the scientific instruments are functioning well. So basically you need to know health. So that's one. The second is the spacecraft is supposed to function something, right? It is supposed to collect some data. Let's say for example it takes a picture, okay, photograph of let's say moon or Mars, or it is collecting some data about let us say the atmospheric composition, or it is using a remote sensing facility to find out what mineral is there. This data has to come to you. So the data has to come to you. So the Deep Space Network is used for 2 things. One is the controlling the satellite, that is giving it command, making it work the way you want. You keep following its health. You make it work in a particular way.
Indian Deep Space Network was inaugurated on 17th October 2008. The first 18-meter antenna of IDSN was built to track India's first lunar mission, Chandrayaan-1, an unmanned lunar exploration mission. It was launched on 22nd October 2008. The 32-meter antenna of IDSN is tracking the ongoing Mars orbiter mission, also known as Mangalyaan. The IDSN facility also houses the ISRO Navigation Center. The center became active on 11th June 2013 at the time of launch of IRNSS-1A, the first of the Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System series of satellites. It will be used to coordinate across 21 ground stations in India. Apart from India, similar networks are run by China, Russia, Europe and Japan.
So let's look at the Indian Deep Space Network. Indian Deep Space Network is a huge antenna. For example, 32 meters, that's a main antenna that India has. So let's say for example we want to send a message to Mars orbiter mission. Okay, if we send a message, depending on the distance between Earth and Mars, the message will take about 20 minutes or even 45 minutes to reach. 20 minutes to 45 minutes. So which means light travels 3 lakh kilometers in a second. Okay, so in a minute it's going to travel 3 lakh into 60. Okay, multiply that by 20. That is the minimum distance we are talking about. And I said the signal strength will come down by 1 by r square. Like light near me is very bright, light far away from me is dim, right? So this dimness occurs 1 by r square. So r is a distance, so r cos square, right? So when an object is very far, for example, if the time taken is going to be 40 minutes to reach, then it's going to be really, really very far, right? So only if I shout, okay, top of my voice, the Mars orbiter mission can hear it as a whisper. Okay, if it is below whisper, then it cannot even hear, right? So below whisper, it cannot even hear. So basically, you need to send signal with a strength which will be more than the noise ratio at that point.
Usuda Deep Space Center is a facility of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. It is a spacecraft tracking station. The main feature of the station is a 64-meter beam waveguide antenna. Usuda was the first deep space antenna constructed with beam waveguide technology. Meanwhile, Chinese Deep Space Network is a network of large antennas and communication facilities that supports the lunar and interplanetary spacecraft missions of China. The network was first needed for the lunar mission Chang'e 1, but will be used to support future missions to the Moon and Mars. The Soviet Deep Space Network is a network of large antennas and communication facilities that supports interplanetary spacecraft missions and radio and radar astronomy observations for the exploration of the solar system and the universe. It was built to support the space missions of the Soviet Union. In total, 13 Soviet space program missions have communicated by the Soviet DSN, including Venera 11, Venera 12, Venera 13, 14, 15, 16, Vega program, Astron, among others. Apart from these, the European Space Operations Centre operates a number of ground-based space tracking stations for the European Space Agency known as European Space Tracking or S-Track Network. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
So that's it from us today in In-Depth. We'll be back same time tomorrow with a focus on some other subject. In case you missed the television broadcast, you can also watch our program online on YouTube, the link for which is given below. Suggestions and feedback about the program are also welcome. Thank you for your time.